Welcome to the channel. Today's video is about this new, actually, this is not a new hack. So this is a way where people have been talking about in so many videos about how you can get a jump of 50 points in your Express Entry application, in your Express Entry scores. Now, I have always been against this, and therefore, in my previous videos, I've always said that you can't do this. Uh, the interpretation of the specific section of the law, which I'm going to show you, also always was very clear and simple to whoever would read it that you can't do this. But most recently, IRCC has clarified through their representative portal, where they do answer to the practitioners' questions, clarifying and stating that you can indeed do this. What am I talking about? And before I go on, small disclaimer, uh, I am facing some issues with my live stream with the audio video lag. And if that continues to happen, I apologize. I am working with my service provider. They have identified that there are some issues with the data loss. And at this point of time, it was more important for me to conduct this live stream rather than wait to resolve the issue. So I apologize in advance. Now, what I'm talking to you about is concurrent work experience. Now, what does concurrent mean? Concurrent means at the same point of time. At a given point of time, if you work in Canada and gain your Canadian experience, and at the same point of time, if you are also working remotely for an employer outside Canada and gain 1 year of work experience for a foreign employer, then IRCC has now clarified that in that 1 year, you can claim points for both these work experiences. I know this comes as a big, for a lot of you, this will come as a shock as to how can IRCC allow this? Why? Because IRCC under normal circumstances does not allow excess work, right? I'm sure you already know it, that if you are working for more than 30 hours a week, then IRCC doesn't give you points. I mean, shouldn't this then also apply to people who are already in Canada? Like, for example, if you are working 60 hours in a week, right? And a lot of you work that hard. I know that. So many of you are doing two jobs, right? And shouldn't IRCC be giving you points for work experience for 2 years if you complete 60 hours per week for 1 year? I mean, that's the same logic, isn't it? But apparently, no. RCC says that if you're working in Canada, you can get only maximum 30 hours. If you're working outside Canada also, if you're working 60 hours, that won't do. You'll get work experience points only for 30 hours. But together, you can combine these two and get additional points under skills transferability. In some cases, that can go up to 50 points. And this, my friends, is where the big problem is. And I will explain to you what the problem here is. Now, why did I always say that this is something which you can't do? And let me just show this to you. And it will become very obvious as to what I'm talking about. In front of you on your screens is that section 25. This is the most contentious section. This is Ministerial Instructions. The link, you don't have to worry. The link is in the description box of the YouTube video. If you are joining on another platforms, you will find the link, of course, if you Google. Section 25 talks about the foreign work experience. And if I was just to scroll a bit up, and you will give you more context, this is combination of Canadian work experience and foreign experience. Here, IRCC is explaining to you what is foreign work experience. So foreign experience is acquired by a foreign national outside Canada in one or more occupations. You know that tier 0, 1, 2, 3. It is full-time work experience, full-time and equivalent part-time is accepted. It could be with more than one employers. Now, mind you, more than one employers is only because it is in combination with Canadian experience class. Otherwise, if you're only federal skilled worker, it has to be continuous, right? For it to be eligible, for your eligibility requirement. It is acquired within the last 10 years, which you already know, is remunerated by payments of wages. This is pretty simple, straightforward. Anybody who knows Express Entry understands this. My problem, our problem, everybody's problem was always in this particular section. This is section 25, subsection 4, which says, for the purposes of these sections, a period of work experience that exceeds full-time work in one occupation or simultaneous periods of work in more than one full-time occupation are to be evaluated as a single period of full-time work in a single occupation. we always understood that this basically means that at a given point of time, you can claim points only for one work experience, whether Canadian or foreign work experience, right? To anybody who's reading this, I mean, you don't even have to have technical knowledge of law or legal knowledge of texts, nothing doing. Anybody, any sane person who will read this will tell you that this is what it means, that you can claim points only for one. You can't double dip, right? Because this is coming under the section of combination of Canadian and foreign work experience. However, IRCC begs to differ, and what they are saying is that when this work in excess is being spoken about, this is being spoken about under the foreign work experience section. So what IRCC is saying is that just like, for example, if I scroll right up, I'm sorry for a very quick scroll, but in the essence of time, if I go to the Canadian work experience requirements, where is section 15? Where are we? Section 15, right? If you go to the Canadian work experience section, here also you can get points up to a maximum of 30 hours. That is what the requirement is. So this is what it is, full-time work. For the purposes of this section, full-time work consists of at least 30 hours per week, and work in excess over here means that this is any work experience which is exceeding full-time work in any occupation. This has to be evaluated as single occupation. So they are saying just like under section 15, which is for Canadian experience, it says that any work that you do for more than 30 hours, we will not consider it. We'll consider only one occupation. Similarly, for this section under section 25, when we are looking at work in excess, this refers only to foreign work experience. Now you would say, I'm getting confused. What the hell do you mean by that? This is what IRCC means. If you are working in Canada and you are working, let's say, 2 jobs in Canada, then they will only take points for one job as long as it is 30 hours per week. And if it is 2 jobs, 15, then they will combine it, right? But it will count only at 30 hours. Similarly, if it's foreign work experience, they will count only one job of 30 hours. So if even outside Canada, foreign work experience, if you're doing multiple jobs, let's say 2, 3, 4 different jobs, I do not know who can do that. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have 24 hours per day. For some of you might have more, but I do not know that. But even so, this basically now means that if you are working in multiple jobs outside Canada as foreign work experience, what IRCC is saying, we will take only one as 30 hours per week. Therefore, finally clarifying and giving us this understanding of this very specific technical understanding of things, that your foreign work experience and your Canadian experience together, both, you can actually claim points. Now, isn't that strange? Isn't that shocking? And the reason why this is shocking is that people have been slogging their backsides off, working hard, trying to get points, trying to get CLB 9s, CLB 10s, getting master's degree, getting Canadian experience, and bang, IRCC now says, well, you can do this as well. If everybody knew this already, then they would have already done this. They wouldn't have to now wait and then get one more year of experience. Now, the problem with this whole situation is that it now opens doors. It opens wide doors to everybody and everybody else to gain remote work experience, foreign work experience at the same time. Because obviously, if you're in Canada and if you're going to be doing Canadian work for Canadian work experience, the only way you can also get foreign work experience is if you are going to get remote work experience. So then you would wonder, will IRCC allow remote work experience? The answer is yes. It has confirmed, IRCC has confirmed that they will also allow, or rather they already do allow, remote work experience as well. Now, first of all, few credits. The credit for the first time to have made this public, as in that you can have concurrent work experience, that information came from Stephen Murins, good friend Stephen Murins. He's always been very spot on with sharing a lot of information with all of us with regards to whatever is IRCC up to. So he managed to get some ATIP notes in that. For the first time, this was declared. But at this point of time, when he had first made this post, and this was 3 months back, right? We had raised the same concern, and I had actually on the same comment. It's my post is also there, which says this is very, very tricky, and it will certainly lead to many people taking this response at face value. And of course, we had said that this is the way I interpret it, is that this person cannot and should not be allowed to double dip. So this was always a concern. However, what has then happened is that a very good friend and a fellow colleague, RCIC, Burju Akyol, as I said, who's also an RCIC, has finally managed to get another set of ATIP notes again from, and this is the link to her most recent LinkedIn post. Again, the link for this post is also in the description box. So credit to her for having finally again gotten another response from IRCC, and this is a very detailed post which you can actually read. And let me show you what it then further says. Where is my... Let me share this as well. It won't let me. I have to first stop this, my God, and then share with you. Telling you tricky these things. I hope you can see my screen finally. Let me see if you can. Yes, you should. No, you can't see my screen. You can see my screen. There you go. So I'm sorry if it is all marked in red, green, blue. The only reason I try to do that so that I can give you more context on this whole thing. Okay, now it looks much better. And IRCC now confirms in first line itself, an applicant may be assigned comprehensive ranking points for concurrent work experience in 2 full-time jobs, one in Canada and another one performed remotely outside Canada. Skills transferability points for foreign work experience and CRS score points for Canadian work experience may be assigned at the same time. There is no doubt. And then in the next paragraph, with respect to the subsection 25, subsection 4, it indicates that its work in excess provision applies exclusively to foreign work experience in sections 23, 24. So they've also clarified that what we have been reading as work in excess, it is only applicable to foreign work experience. It doesn't mean that they will only choose one of the two. You can actually choose both. And then it says provision related to, okay, that's the clarification in the blue and the green here. And then the next section, it says, if you are choosing to show your remote work experience, and this is where you have to be very careful when you try to do this, the system does not automatically show your country of work. And if, for example, you are in Canada and you try to show your foreign work experience, then you are physically in Canada, your work you are working is remotely outside Canada. In order for you to claim that work, you will now have to make the changes in your Express Entry profile. So in your Express Entry profile, when you are showing work outside Canada, please choose the location of that work as outside Canada, whichever country your offices, your employment is, so that the system can then give you points for the foreign work experience. Now, when you do finally submit your application, and this is what it means over here, please submit. Again, in red, it tells you, please submit. Let me make this bigger so that you can see this clearly. It says in red, please submit an explanation detailing the remote work agreement where the employer and employee are physically located. And then again, sign say I think there was something else here as well, which I would like to see if I can find. Another one is, and this was also obtained by Burju in another question that she asked about remote work for a foreign employer while residing, studying, or working in Canada may be eligible for foreign work experience points. This is huge. Means even when you are studying in Canada, you could actually work for an employer outside Canada at the same point of time. You will get points for foreign work experience. This is very, very big. I'm telling you, this will change the entire game of Express Entry as we move forward. And again, in section C, it then talks about foreign work experience when you're working with a Canadian employer. So those people who actually leave Canada, they go outside Canada, and then they are working for a Canadian employer while they are outside Canada. That also in blue, that is what is mentioned. that constitutes as foreign work experience. Again, just to clarify, just to reiterate, if you are working for an employer which is located in Canada, but you yourself are physically outside Canada, you are in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Dubai, I don't know, any part of the world, Africa. If you're working for a Canadian employer while you are physically outside Canada, that would be foreign work experience. That would not be Canadian experience. So this is the clarification that we have obtained. One more thing which is very, very interesting here is, and this was the answer that was obtained by Stephen Burns in the first place, and I have highlighted for you in the red, and it says, now when you're asking IRCC for clarification on these points, IRCC is saying it was not assumed to be possible when the legislation was written and is being reviewed. What it basically means is, when this legislation was created, when this legislation was made about these different sections of ARPA, ERPR, Ministerial Instructions, at that point of time, they had never imagined that somebody would actually have to do this double dipping, right? That they would have to work in Canada, also would have to work in foreign country or abroad, and therefore try to get both the points. They never thought that would actually ever happen. And this was also never a requirement until quite some time. That is, this whole requirement for double dipping or getting extra points has only occurred over, I don't know, after 2024. Before 2024, if you just had Canadian experience, you were good to go. You could have absolutely gone through. There wouldn't have been any problem at all. It's only after 2024 has this become such a big deal, and that you now definitely need. Actually, yes, there is no instance, or rather in most instances, if you don't have foreign work experience, you can't really cross 530. You can't. It's very difficult. Is there any instance where you can? Okay, maybe sibling points can help, master's degree, CLB 10. Yeah, there could be a couple of instances, or if you've done a PhD, maybe, then yes, possible. But there are very few instances where your scores can actually cross 530 if you don't have foreign work experience. So therefore, who would have thought that foreign experience would become such a huge deal, right? At least I never thought that would be a requirement. So once again, very quickly giving you this information so that you will have it very clearly. This is on your screens coming up now, is Burju Akiol's post. Please take a look at it. Please read through it. It will give you a lot of information and clarity. She has made a very good, she's taken a lot of effort to write everything down. She's put lots of different scenarios, what will be foreign employer scenario, what is self-employed in Canada with foreign clients scenario, and remote work for a Canadian employer while abroad. All these questions were answered by IRCC through these ATIP notes, and that is what A, B, and C here refers to. As I said, the link is in the description, so you don't have to worry about it, and you can get that information. My God, isn't this huge? Now, what this will do, what are the implications for this? Now, that is where it becomes very, very interesting. I'm sure a lot of you already know this is not, what I'm trying to tell you right now is not a big news. Because a lot of you already knew about it. You were operating very quietly. You were not letting anybody know. The only reason why I have spoken about this is because this is already in public domain, and very quickly, very soon, you will now start seeing TikTok videos, Instagram reels, YouTube videos, which will talk about how you can misuse this, how you can abuse this. I'm sure some agents in some countries will start advertising it, that when we will handle your application, we will give you 1 year experience. And that, my friends, everybody out there, you have to be very, very careful. Obviously, IRCC is aware. Obviously, IRCC has over the last, this is version 3.0, I've been telling you this. IRCC has already been very diligent, very, very stringent in the way they are applying the regulations, in the way they are, even the smallest, even the tiniest of errors and mistakes, IRCC is pointing out. You get a PFL, sometimes they might not even need to send you a PFL, and bang, you get a refusal. The number of misrepresentation bans have also gone up exponentially. Each year they deal with, not each year, sorry, my bad. Each month, IRCC is now dealing in thousands of applications who are being committed, who are being slapped with misrepresentation bans, in thousands. And of course, these applications are visit visas, work permit applications, study permit applications, and now obviously joining the bandwagon, also a lot of PR applications. So please, I know you would now be itching to get and get started with trying your foreign work experience hands as well. But please, for God's sake, for your own sake, for sake of your parents who has obviously spent a lot of money to send you to Canada as a student, don't be stupid and get some fake work experience from your uncles, your friends, your relatives, your father's company, etc., etc. I know I do a lot of consultations. A lot of you people, a lot of you guys ask me about things and how you can do this and how you can do that. I know there are so many of you out there who are already doing things which you shouldn't be doing, and I've been telling you that. uh, it's not it's not very far when it will become public knowledge as to how many people get caught with these things. So the things that I see a problem with this, I mean, as much as I'm telling you don't do it, I'm sure some of you are going to do it. So this is where the problem will happen. It's actually already happening. So this is where the problem is happening. People have already been creating fake work experiences. It's happening in Canada, it's happening outside Canada. But Canada, it's easier to clamp down. It's very, I mean, IRCC finds it much easier to identify where the gaps are, where the fake, there are markers all the time, right? Of course, there are instances where a lot of people who are running fake payroll get away with it, but a lot of people invariably do get caught. And that's what I'm hoping that IRCC continues to do, is catching all those people and throwing them out of the country. But it's the foreign work experience which gets very tricky. So if you have legit, genuine foreign work experience, or if you're beginning to start one, this is what you should be looking to do. Document all parts of your work experience. Very important, especially remote work experience becomes very difficult to prove. There have been instances where people have said, I'm taking cash salary on remote foreign work experience. My friend, you are in Canada. Does your employer come to visit you every month and give you cash salary? So instead saying my father is the one who's picking up my cash salary, and then you getting an affidavit, you are complicating things. You are creating bigger issues for yourself. You're definitely raising serious alarm gongs, not even bells, for IRCC to sort of investigate further. So please be aware of these things. Get a proper employment offer or a contract which lists down the fact that your employment would be remote. It lists down your roles and responsibility, which will identify this work to be remote. Of course, for example, you can't be a hands-on cook working remotely, right? You can't. So, I mean, unless there is a way that you can now make a pizza virtually and then deliver it, uh, I think we are still a few years away from that to happen. So please, don't make that mistake. I've already had one case like that where somebody was trying to work in this kind of a occupation remotely. You can't do welding remotely. You can't be a carpenter remotely. Yeah, so you please don't try those stunts. Won't work out anyways. So your remote work experience, in the sense your contract would specifically state what kind of work experience this is, what kind of a job is it. It would lay down terms for your remote work. It would also mention how you would be operating, what kind of mode of your reporting this would be, how many hours you would need to clock in. It's very important. If you have the document up, as a contract upfront, it will help. Secondly, log your hours. If you're taking any leave, any sick leave, any vacation leave, please log that as well. If you are using any platforms, right? I mean, obviously, if you're going to be working remotely, you have to be working. So what are you using? What kind of systems are you using? How is your attendance recorded? How is your work recorded? What kind of tasks are being assigned to you? How are those tasks being assigned to you? How do you deliver those tasks? Please keep a log, keep a record of all of these things. If there is any performance reviews, if there are any meeting logs, if there is some sort of a platform that you operate, any emails that you have with your employer, please keep a record of everything. And when you are claiming points concurrently for foreign work experience and Canadian work experience, provide these documents upfront in a proper package, index it, explain it, add explanation as to how was it that you were managing to work in Canada 30 hours or more, and outside Canada 30 hours or more. How are you managing these hours? Was it weekend hours? Was it daily hours? I mean, I can understand the time zone helps, because when it's night in Canada, it's day in outside Canada, and vice versa, kind of a thing. So, and of course, the job could also, require you to work in different shifts or whatever that might be in your own time. But having it properly documented is very important. First thing. Secondly, would be the reference letter, which would again emphasize what kind of work it was, what kind of roles and responsibilities it was. Thirdly, your pay stubs that you were being paid. Fourth, your bank statements. Obviously, without being paid, your work experience cannot be considered as genuine. So your bank statements will be very important. And I would definitely recommend that you get your tax returns sorted out as well. So if you're in Canada, are you declaring your taxes here as foreign income? Talk to a tax consultant. I don't know much about this, but have that sorted out as well. And therefore, when you do finally make that effort to present these documents, please do it in a proper manner so that you don't get caught out with PFLs and additional document requests, or IRCC outright refusing your application because they don't think. No. Having said all of this, at the end of the day, all these ATIP notes also very clearly mention at the end that it is immigration officers' discretion, and they will always review the application on case-to-case basis. Therefore, as much as we are saying all these things, you could always have an officer who interprets the law in a different manner and doesn't award you points. It has happened before. So therefore, logging everything is going to be very important. And of course, if they don't accept your work experience, then you can always knock on the door of the judicial review court, right? And you can always go there with a federal court and make a judicial review case using an immigration lawyer. But that's later on. But upfront, if you keep all the documents straightforward, you should still be able to get through. Now, what this will do in future, now I know all of us are now anxiously waiting for the immigration levels plan, which is going to happen in a couple of days. We will know much more about immigration. Anybody who is below 500, guys, you can pretty much think this is the end of express entry for you. I mean the Canadian experience class, direct, unless you're in a category draw. Because after this video, or after people who are already aware of the foreign work experience, after people who will be making themselves aware of this particular requirement, I'm absolutely certain that almost everybody is going to have foreign work experience. I don't know whether it's legit or not. That's IRCC's responsibility to figure out why the work experience is legit or not legit. But everybody and their cats and dogs will have foreign work experience. It's bound to happen. And with that work experience, scores are going to skyrocket. If you were earlier thinking 505, 508, 510 is going to be safe, I am afraid moving forward in a few months' time, as people would have completed their work experience or will now figure out how they can show the work experience that they have not already shown, I'm telling you, people will come up with all kinds of things. They will come up with all kinds of ways to work around this. And I'm telling you, it's a loophole. Absolutely, it's a loophole. And I know it will be misused. It's unfortunate, and I'm hoping that IRCC does review this at the earliest, because though I just showed you a screenshot where they said that they never imagined this would have to be looked at, and that they will be reviewing it, I just hope that they review it at the earliest and they clamp it down, because this is going to get out of hands for sure. And CRS scores, my friends, are going to go out of, I don't know where, they're just going to soar to the skies for sure, because they're not going to come down. And if this is how it operates, then anybody who doesn't have foreign experience, you guys are going to be left out. So you have to figure out how you can get your work experience, whether you have to go back and do it, whether you're getting a remote job. I don't know how do you do it. First of all, don't misrepresent. Misrepresentation carries 5-year ban. IRCC will be coming down very heavily on these applications. There will be no leeway. So please don't fall into that trap, but do get genuine if you can. And as far as preparing for your express entry is concerned, know that the scores are not going to be coming down anytime soon. They will remain high. When I'm saying high, I'm not saying that they will remain at 533, 534 all the time. Of course, in 520s is a huge possibility. The minute IRCC brings back their regular size express entry draws. That's all that I have for you today. This was a flash one. Today is a Sunday. I actually had to go out, but I said, no, this one needs to be made. This one needs to be spoken about, because I know very quickly, in the matter of few hours, you will start seeing TikTok reels, which will be giving you rubbish information, not telling you exactly what is happening and what is not happening. And a lot of you will be falling prey to that. So please be very careful. Know where you need to get your information. Otherwise, just go always to the horse's mouth, in this case, Ministerial Instructions, and read that. Very quickly taking these questions. On closed work permit and I have 3 years of CEC instead of 4th year, can I do remote work in IT to claim foreign experience? Yes, you can. I have just explained. Absolutely, you can. You can continue to be in Canada. You Even if you're studying in Canada, you can get foreign work experience. Even if you're visiting Canada, you can get foreign experience. You're in a TRV, you are in a visitor record, you can get foreign work experience. Even if you are working in Canada, you can get foreign work experience. It has never been so easy to get foreign work experience if you didn't already have it. I did claim and concurrent points and got my P1 last week, waiting for P2, documents, remote contract, pay stub, bank statements, Form 16, ITR email conversion, work log, probation form. Way to go, Harish Kumar. Way to go. You were you were several steps ahead of the game. Well done. Congratulations. On EE profile, having 1.5 years of foreign experience, still profile showed not eligible for FSW. What to do now? Well, check why is it showing not eligible. Do you have 67 points on the eligibility score for federal skilled worker? You will get points for age, education, work experience, language skill score. Then check whether you are showing proof of funds, because that number of proof of funds should meet or match with your family size. Then check how many hours of work experience do you have, and this work experience was continuous or not. That is how you will establish whether you are actually eligible in express entry for federal skilled worker. Got nomination from Ontario International Student Stream, applied PR in Feb. I have not received AOR yet. Work permit is expiring. What is the best time to apply for work permit extension? Well, if you're applying for work permit extension, apply only one day before it expires. That's the whole point. Otherwise, if you apply sooner, what's the point, right? So wait. Try to see if you're getting your nomination, try to see if you're getting your LMIA, try to see you are getting CLB5, speaking and listening to you can apply. Otherwise, if you're applying for extension, wait till the very last minute so that you know that you have all the options and you've expired all the options. Ontario Masters Grad Federal file submitted in December, got my AOR. Now I have 539. Apply CEC or wait? Need new PCC. You got your biometrics in October. Well, why do you want to spend more money? They have already started working on your file. I know you would rather get 539. So now this is, in your case, this is the proper answer. If you do not want to be stuck in Ontario as the nomination compliance conditions, then you may want to go for CEC. But if your application is already creeping into the final stages, you've already got your biometrics request, in the next few months, you will get your approval. Then spare that ITA for somebody who might really need it. Otherwise, you will be spending another, I don't know, $1,000 for your application fee. Can you do it? Yes, you can. Should you wait? I think you should. But if you really are one of those anxious types, I mean, who's to tell you? Need new PCC? Well, it all depends. If your PCC is expired, if you've been to that country, then you will need a new one. Any chances of OINP general draws? There is no way to know. No clue what Ontario is doing. Nothing yet. Well, that's pretty much it. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kubeir. You helped a lot when I was doing my paperwork. Started in 2019, did French in 24. Finally in Canada, got my PR card today. Thank you for motivating me to do French. Excellent. I'm so glad at least somebody is so smart as yourself and so sensible to have taken the right advice at the right point of time. I'm so glad to hear that. Congratulations. Very well done. Open work permit expired and dummy extension refused. I have 90 days to restore my status. Can I work for foreign employer while on a visitor record? Yes, I already explained to you. If you are in Canada on a visitor record, you can indeed, you can certainly work for a foreign employer. No problem at all. What do you think 498 is a decent for cook? Well, for cook, yes, in a trade category, 498 seems to be pretty decent in the sense of, but it all depends, right? How many invitations they're going to issue. And that will single-handedly determine whether the score is good or not. At this point of time, we are hearing a lot of rumors that next year IRCC is going to revise a lot of categories. They may remove the cooks, they may remove the pharmacy assistants from healthcare, cooks from the trade, but I do not know if there's going to be another draw. I mean, technically and ideally, there should be another express entry draw for trades, because there is about almost 2,000 ITAs quota which is remaining for trades. So if that happens, 2,000 ITAs, then I definitely think 498 should get through. Okay, what is this? Hi Kubeir, I'm an international student. We are allowed 24 hours per week. I got paid bi-weekly, means 48 hours bi-weekly. I do 30 hours in 1 week and rest 18 hours in one another week. Is this okay? No, this is not okay. Just because you're getting 48 bi-weekly does not mean that you are in compliance. You should still only stick to 24 hours in 1 week. Any week that you're doing less does not compensate for the hours for you to do extra hours in another week. If IRCC does a compliance audit check, then you might get into trouble. Please be aware. What else have we got here? Nothing here. If I've applied for work permit extensions and if I get CLB5, I mean NCLC5 and TCF, can I reapply for Francophone Mobility Program? Yes, you can. As of today, it continues to be open. Francophone Mobility Program for work permits is still open. You can definitely apply for it if you are eligible. If you get a job offer from an employer, you can most certainly do that. Any chance they will add education counselors in the education category or health category? I doubt it very much. Education counselors were in healthcare last year. I don't think it's making, I mean, at least I don't think. Of course, it can happen. I don't think. On the contrary, they might be removing some occupations from the healthcare. I think pharmacy assistant will go. I think social workers, knock code will go. That's what we are hearing. Of course, we don't know which way which will actually land up. I have 11 months of foreign work experience. I just need one more month from my previous employer in India is willing to hire me as a design engineer. How do you see this? I see this as an excellent opportunity. If you only need one more month of work experience, I would be on my next flight out trying to get this 1 month of experience in the bag. I would, the day I start my work experience, I will even update my Express Entry profile because the profile will give me the points already. The minute I do that, and then I can complete this period of work, get my ITA, submit my application after I've completed the work, and then be on the next flight back. No problem at all. Okay, we've got these questions as well. I think we just did this one. Nothing here. Any chances of Ontario human capital at 494? I doubt it very much. 494 for human capital priorities. I don't see why that would happen. The last human capital priorities was also at a very high of 505 plus. I mean, as of right now, I don't even see human capital happening. We don't even know what Ontario is up to. I guess once their quotas are reinstated next year, we might see a draw. Who's to tell, right? I mean, when you ask me, I mean, it's not like I have an inside information. If I did, trust me, I would be making a video just like this one, trying to tell you that this is what's going to happen. In the current scenario, will applying for a dummy work permit extension, then withdrawing it before a decision negatively impact future PR chances? It doesn't impact at all. It doesn't make any difference. I mean, you make an application, then you withdraw, you are just going to lose a status. That's all. There is no impact on your PR application. How? If IRCC makes, or rather identifies that you are in non-compliance of the immigration law because you submitted an application where you're not eligible and slaps you with the in that section of non-compliance, now that can become a problem. Other than that, no, it's not an issue. I'm an international student. Can I collect my foreign work experience while student in Canada? Yes, I just showed it to you. This is IRCC saying it themselves, right? Where did it go? Where did we go? Share screen. Can you see my screen? No. Why you can't see the screen? Add. All right. Let me make this a bit bigger. We are going here. Yes. So you see the first line, which is in red, it says remote work for a foreign employer while residing, studying, or working in Canada may be eligible for comprehensive ranking skill score. So there you go. That's your answer. If you are studying in Canada, you wish to claim these points, you can now certainly do it. Okay, what else have I got here? Nothing. Any news on adding software knock codes in STEM? I don't know. Absolutely don't know. That information will probably come out in the next week once they make out the announcements. It looks difficult, to be very honest. At this point of time, IT knock codes looks difficult, but again, who's to say? Will education score drop to 455? Ugh. Again, first of all, there might not be an education draw anymore this year. Probably is going to be next year. Now, with the change of knock codes, anything being added, being removed, and how many invitations being issued, that will decide whether the scores could drop. It is possible. It will all depend on how many invitations they issue. But I would not want to pin my hopes on 455 for that particular stream. Applied for Masters, Ontario, September. I haven't got nomination yet. Should I wait for or start preparing some other way to get? Yeah. Ontario has made the announcement that they now have the authority to cancel any applications which they feel are no longer meeting with their labor market requirements. So, understanding that, if I was you, I would have a backup option ready already, because you never know which direction Ontario is going to go with this one. So, yeah, I would certainly have some options ready. Is removing cooks, PAs, humors, or backed by data influx CDC cops? I wish you will use complete words instead of this short terms. CDC, and not what you mean by CDC. Is removing cooks, PAs, humors? I do not know PA. What do you mean by PA here? So no, it is not. It is not a speculation. It is backed by data. There are ATIP notes that have been revealed. I think it's on my Twitter account also. You can find them there. That IRCC has said that there are too many cooks that are spoiling this broth. Sorry for that cliched comment, but yes, they have already identified that there are too many cooks, much more that they would have liked to invite, that they have already overdrawn cooks last year as well, and that the whole point of trade was to get carpenters, welders, technicians, etc., which they are not able to get. So based on that, they are already reviewing how they could have conducted trade category draws without including cooks in it. But they haven't been able to identify that. So this is backed by their data, IRCC's ATIP notes. But if anybody is humoring this, well, then good luck to them. I don't see this funny. Any chance for STEM CRS 508? Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping that there is a STEM draw. That would be nice. I know a lot of people are waiting, but there is no way of saying whether there will be one or not. Can I work full-time in Canada and remotely for India at the same time, but claim only Indian job for work for Express Entry? Yes, you can. All you have to do is not show the Canadian work experience in your work history. And after you have completed, after you've got your ITA, then you can show your Canadian experience in your personal history. You can certainly do it, but after what we have discussed today, why won't you claim? You would claim all the points you can get, right? Why won't you claim these points? Right, guys, thank you so much for joining in. This was supposed to be a short one, but apparently we went on a bit too long than I anticipated. I got to go out for dinner and then hopefully have a good evening. Everybody else, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Next week is going to be even more interesting because next week we will know what IRCC is planning for the remainder of this year and probably next year as well. So have a good rest of the day, and I shall see you when we have this new announcement.